Well, I'm going to toss it to you. Take it away. Again, please, you guys, everybody, feel free to ask questions at any point during this, and we'll kind of keep it an open conversation, all right?
Yeah,
All right,
please feel
Bridget.
free to raise your hand and interact as much as we all can. I did hear Tara. I do have my insurance with her. She's amazing. I've had American Family for so long. I actually wrote insurance, but I couldn't even write my own as well as Tara, her quotes for me. And Skylar, I'm so glad you came. Um, has anyone here heard of Keller Williams Real Estate? Perfect. Do you know where they're based out of? Their home corporate office. So they're in Texas. And actually this week, I'm in 2 hours ahead of you guys, but we've been attending a family reunion. It's a conference each year. And apparently Texas has some really bad weather. So of course, like all of our worlds, their technology kind of went down. And then there's over 60,000 people all over attending this. And they're all trying to do it virtually. And it was just interesting. But if you don't mind, I was going to share my screen. It might help me kind of not fumble so much through this. Let's see what I got here. And I'm going to do sound just in case. Okay. I won't make this big, but kind of the title I thought of this is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and I'm going to end with it. This is a book of mine that it's the Mr. Rogers story. And so I kind of want to share that one a little bit later, but we already did go through where everybody's at. I thought about maybe asking one question and opening it up to everybody. If you were to get $10,000 today, Michelle wrote everybody a check, and she's like, what would you do with it if you had to spend it on just one thing and all at once? So I will go first, and I kept thinking about what I would spend it on and if it'd be fun. And you can go to the casino, whatever you want, but I would probably just put it on my car loan and knock that out. So does anybody want to share what they might do with that? If you want to raise your hand or just unmute. Nothing?
Well, that sounds very responsible, but I'm not going to lie. I'm going on vacation. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say go on a trip also.
Good, you should. Emily, did you have one? I saw you unmuted. Nope. Okay. There's two Emilys.
We shared Zoom links, and so she came in as with the same name.
Yeah, one of the other guys I work with, he always comes in as Michelle Bennett, and it's like, well, I don't know a lot of male Michelles, but that's okay. The other thing, let me go back here to my screen again. A little bit about my path. Like, I work a lot in technology. I've turned into more of a support staff. So I kind of wanted to do this. I was invited from the last meetup and was surprised to be asked to come back. I'm like, oh, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing here. But I wanted to open up and just meet different people in the community because, technology, and as we grow, it's nice to partner with other businesses and see what they're doing and find out what works best for them. So as I said, I did insurance for a little while. I worked for a real estate company, office management. Then I worked for an independent agent as an assistant, licensed assistant. And then eventually I had 3 kids along the way, and it seemed like every child, that maternity leave was like, oh, new gig, trying something different. And that's kind of what happened with my OP. She's our operating principal. Started over at Keller Williams and just been there ever since. And it's been great. This was something, I don't know how well you can see it, but this was something that a friend of mine actually shared the other day. And technology itself is not the disruptor. Not being customer centric is the biggest threat to any business. It's so hard for us to be engaged and focus on our customers and think that technology. So this is Netflix did not kill Blockbuster. Ridiculous late fees did. Uber did not kill the taxi business. Limited access and fare controlled it. Apple did not kill the music industry. Being forced to buy full-length albums did. Amazon did not kill other realtors. Poor customer service and experience did. And maybe we can agree to disagree on this. Some people may not see this the same way, but I just thought it was interesting. And then Airbnb, isn't killing the hotel industry. Limited availability and pricing options are. I see that there's a chat there. Okay. A little shout out to Josh Streets. That was my first call last month. Has anybody read this book? Fix the Root. I know I see some faces from last month that read this, but so I went ahead and got it and dove right into it. And I think the best part of it, if you haven't read, is he shares some of his personal experiences, and it's very real. And it just gives you all of the feels. So I really appreciate him sharing his story. There's a couple quotes from it. One is, creating things more than consuming them. And another one I liked was, we all have different blueprints. The one that really stuck out that I'm struggling with in life now is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Because we all do. And obviously, if you're on here, you've already connected with Zoom and that whole world, but it's a balance. So that's going to be kind of one of my goals, is just trying to balance a little bit better. And then in chapter 3, there is the art of balance awareness. So I think that one is really helping with that. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. It says, awareness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. This next book, I just kind of wanted to throw in here. It is called The One Thing. Has anybody heard of this book by chance? By Gary Keller? You have, Emily? Skylar? No, okay. So this one was published in 2013. I was hoping to open this up again to everybody so we have a moment to speak. It's not just me, but obviously it's called The One Thing. So it's, what can you focus on today that will make everything else a little easier and maybe unnecessary? Does anybody think of one thing? Like, to me, I'm 2 hours ahead. So my one thing was, I got up and got in the shower like right away. I just wanted to make sure that I was ready. But does anybody, can they think of one thing that they could do today that might make their life a little bit easier? Maybe something you're procrastinating on, just need to get done. Skylar?
I need to run to Walgreens and get some things like toothpaste and deodorant and little things like that. Then it takes me away from my computer for a little bit.
Yeah,
I try to do little errands like that, like in the middle of the day, just so I can just step away for a little bit and just reset.
Yeah.
Hi, Bridget. I was going to say, I want to get out and get some fresh air, because it's been, we've had kind of been inside a lot. And then with the colder weather, that's just kind of compounded that. So I know that getting out in the fresh air really kind of jumpstarts my day and makes everything else kind of flow really nicely. So I'm going to try to get out with my dog and take a walk in the fresh air, even though it's chilly.
Good. Nice.
I'll say, since the pandemic kind of shut a lot of parts of my day down that would otherwise be occupied with all kinds of things, I found times in the day where I could basically cordon off and work on systems within the business that have then made my life easier. And so setting that time aside for that most important thing in your way, to get it cleared, can actually kind of compound down the road.
Yeah, I love that. Does anybody here time block? I know I work with a lot of real estate agents, and obviously they're independent. So it's very important for them to time block their day, because, they can maybe have breakfast with a friend if they don't have a showing. But yeah, Kyle, what do you time block for?
The big thing, my first couple hours of the day, I block off on my calendar. Don't bother me. I'm working on important stuff, and it can be whatever's important to me, whether it's long-term planning for the year or whether it's getting stuff out of the way that's coming up that particular day. With the pandemic, I now have scheduled in my lunch walk, And if I have a lunch meeting, then I do my lunch walk before or after. And then I also block off specific time for networking, and everything else then is left for collaborating with my employees or working directly on projects, or dealing with whatever else somebody needs me to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I mean, I'm sure live by our calendar, at least I do. Everything is, so I do what my calendar tells me. But that time blocking, especially for agents that I work with, setting aside 3 days a week from 2 to 3, they're going to make their phone calls. They make your care touches, reach out to your people, whether it's on Facebook and you see a new life event, just try to be in touch, engage with those people. The more and more we do business, the more we learn it's more about your connections with people, right? Showing them that you actually care. If you would like, I would love to send you a copy of this book if you're interested. If you want, I don't know, Michelle, is it okay if people put their name and then we could reach out and get address, or we can put the addresses in chat?
Yeah, how are we gonna do it? That's great.
Yeah, I would love to send anyone that would like this book. I'll shoot you one in the mail later this week. Just
Maybe if
type
you
your
guys
stuff.
wanna, yeah, I was gonna say, if you guys wanna leave an email in the chat that we can get, or reach out to myself and I'll pass it on to Bridget.
That'd be great. And I can put my email in too, just in case.
Yeah, perfect.
That way you don't have to, you can copy, or if you want, even just shoot me over the chat when it's done, and so you don't have to do it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I got a fun little video I might share here, just because if anybody's looking at podcasts, I personally don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I like music, but I know that a lot of the people in my industry do. So I thought I'd share this quick video that I think is fun. I hope I did the sound. Let me make sure. Share again and yep, I got the sound checked. Okay.
You have to begin by being rich and wealthy in your mind before you become rich and wealthy in life. The real purpose of financial wealth is for you to be able to finance your personal mission for your life. It's your freedom money.
That kind of music always kind of gets you pumping a little bit. Let's see here. This next slide I kind of wanted to bring up. It's called a KPA. It's the Keller Personality Assessment. If anybody's ever heard of, the DISC assessment, you've taken those things where you're a D or an I or a little bit of both. This is something that I also wanted to extend to everyone. Our market center has an account with this, and we send it to not just recruits for our real estate agents, but even people. It shows your traits when it comes to accounting, your management style, all of those things. I'll give you a little peek. So the reason I bring it up, like I said, is if you are interested, and if you want to just type like KPA in the chat, I can send this to you. The biggest thing is it takes about, I want to say 45 minutes to an hour. And they tell people to make sure it's your undivided attention, the best part of your day, whether you're a morning person, maybe a little bit later, but give yourself that time to complete it, to kind of see what that looks like. Where did it go here? So this one was mine, which I'm hoping to do it again because I did it in 2017. So what it really does is it breaks down your operating style, like what kind of communication. And as far as Keller Williams goes, they use this to actually learn how to communicate with other people. We all learn how someone might want just a direct approach, just give me the facts. I need them right now, and that's it, no fluff. And there's other people that, especially more outgoing social real estate agents that I have, where I'm a little bit more of an introvert, so it's kind of nice to know their style. So if you're interested in anything like this, there's one page I really wanted to show you that's really cool. what it does is it breaks down your, it's a job fit report. I don't even think it's, see how long this is? Isn't that crazy? Gives you all this stuff. Do you mind if I do a little sidebar and see if I can pull this up really quick? When we have the job fit report, once somebody completes this, it really breaks it down to what our terminology is. Like we have an MCA, which is an accountant type. Then it tells you if you'd be good as a single agent, or maybe you'd be better as an assistant on a team. And it's funny though, I will tell you, there's a couple agents that I know that are good friends of mine too. They are right at the bottom as far as being a single agent. Like that's their lowest percentage, but yet they're actually really, really great at it. So it just depends, you know, I mean, and it's only because of their other skills. It's not necessarily just that one line. So here's my job fit report. See, is anybody curious about, okay, there's a couple, awesome, sweet. And then, you know, what we usually do when somebody takes it, we kind of get together and go over it. We don't need to do that, but it's kind of fun. Everybody likes to talk a little bit about themselves. Let's see here. Oh, maybe it's not in here. Well, that's okay. Either way, it is nice. It'll show you at, you know, 80% MCA. So you're like, oh yeah, I do like numbers. I am good with spreadsheets and accounting and things like that. So I'll make sure and get those sent out to you. And it's not like your average test, I will tell you. It asks you questions on terminology, and it's not necessarily a definition answer. It's more of how does that word relate to that word to you. So I'll be curious to see how that all turns out. Let's see here. This last slide I was going to show again is my favorite book. Thinking about all of this and what to talk about and just go on and on with everybody is really my family. My kids are the most important. So this book isn't necessarily business geared, but again, it's like, it is, to me, this last year, we all struggled, but I feel like our children are probably going to need more help than anything moving forward. They're still resilient. But there's a couple quotes in here that I don't know if this is cheesy, but do you guys mind if I read just a couple of these things in here? Okay, cool. Has anybody read this book by chance, the Mr. Rogers?
I watched only the movie. It was pretty good.
Did you like it?
Yes, yes. I'm a fan of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. It kind of pulls at the heartstrings. I mean, it's just, it makes you smile, right? Yeah.
I mean, I watched him as a kid all the time. Who doesn't love Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, yeah. And this book is, I like it because it's a bunch of passages and, you know, it's not a story necessarily. So it's kind of like you can pick a couple of these that you need to read today. So like my kids, I like to read this one. Where'd it go? There we go. It's from the song, It's You I Like. So it says, it's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like. The way you are right now, the way down deep inside you, not the things that hide you. Not your toys, they're just beside you. But it's you I like, every part of you, your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. I hope that you remember, even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like. So I kind of like that one. That's one of my favorites. And I feel like it gives my kids like the feels, you know, it really isn't about your toys or anything else. This one I really like with diversity is what matters most is how children feel about their uniqueness once they begin to realize that they are different from everyone else. How each one of us comes to feel about our individual uniqueness has a strong influence on how we feel about everyone's uniqueness. And this is like a big factor, whether we grow into adults who rejoice in the diversity of the world's people or into adults who fear and resent that diversity. You know, hoping to pass on that to, yeah. Well, I've got a bunch more, but that's I kind of wanted to do about a half an hour. I hope that's okay, Michelle, if there are any questions or.
Yeah, I just have a couple questions, kind of going back to like your role at Keller Williams.
Yep.
So when you guys have obviously grown this, you just said you just opened up in 2017.
17.
How does one get grow that fast? Because to me, 200 agents, that's crazy.
Well, the model that we have at Keller Williams, I'm not going to say anything about any other brokerages. They all have their benefits. I think that's what attracted so many people is when you are a real estate agent, you still owe that firm, part of your commission. So there's splits. And our office is a 70-30. So when you get a commission check, you get 70% and we get 30%. But the other great thing about our model is we have a capped model. So if let's say, okay, I'll go back. Basically, the cap dollar amount that you would pay the company is $23,000. It seems like maybe that's a lot, but once that 30% of each of those commission checks reaches $23,000, then you cap, is what we call it, cappers, and then you get 100% of your commission that rest of that year. And of course, we do have the profit share model. Is anybody here part of any type of profit share model or passive income, things like that? Okay. Well, that's the other factor when it comes to Keller Williams. It took me a while, probably a couple years, maybe a year or so, to really grasp what it means and how it works. So an example would be, I joined Keller Williams, and then I have a friend that's a realtor that also joined, and then she named me as her sponsor. So therefore, she's in my downline now. So let's say, for example, that real estate agent that named you as a sponsor, she's the reason that she came to Keller Williams. She sells $2 million in real estate for the year. That would give me about $2,000 in my pocket. Now that's just, there's no strings attached. It's just on the 21st of every month. They close out the day that month for expenses, and the rest is profit. And then it gets calculated out into all these people that are involved with profit share. So now let's say this agent that I do have in my downline, she caps, like I said, she pays all the company dollar. Well, then of course I'm not getting profit share anymore because the company is not, she's not paying into the company anymore. So there's people all over the world that you can connect with that can name you in their downline from California or wherever. So it's really nice to be a large referral type network. And does that help a little bit with that
Yeah.
breakdown?
So, I mean, I kind of think of realtors in their own mind. I mean, they're their own business owners, like you said, they have to be, motivated. So what do you as a company do to keep your realtors motivated? What is their, I mean, how do you recruit them? How do you get them, I guess, excited about what's going on and things like that? What draws people in? I know the money part of it, but
Yep.
what keeps them there?
So a lot of people, we talk about culture. I have been at other brokerages. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about that because it's really the way it used to be in real estate where, you've got this really great lead generation plan that you're working on and door knocking, but you have to be really quiet. Like, shh, I don't want anybody to steal my idea because then they're going to steal my clients. They're going to be the ones. We share everything. There's ideas and everything is very transparent. There's no hidden commissions. There's no hidden anything. And a lot of our agents, when they have a deal with someone from another brokerage and then they kind of see how that transaction went, that's a good time to reach out and say, would you like to have lunch? And maybe that's how they end up joining. So it's not one person really recruiting. There are some really great people that know Keller Williams well and do that well, but it's the real estate world, like all your other businesses, you get connected to each other. And then you have that connection, and then they talk about, they're like, oh, really? You guys have 2 classes every week in their continuing ed credits? And you guys do, we just try to constantly do things for our agents with monthly Zooms for birthday parties, at least right now. And, we try to stay engaged. We do have a Facebook page like you guys do in Medco. We have a private one, of course, but just we're always staying in touch, and we have different volunteer programs, and it's all about really the culture. You want to be around the people that, you want to be around, that are going to help you grow.
Okay, before I keep asking questions, who else has some questions for Bridget? Okay, I got another one. All right, so in the real estate world, what has been that, obviously we're in a whole different, world. So you and I just spoke a little bit. We were talking about derecho for those of you that popped on a little late, just everything that I know you guys did. But in this past year, what has had to change in your industry? Like, how did you guys adapt to all of it, even just right here in our area?
It's probably a lot like everyone else. We were lucky, I think, enough in our business that it didn't get shut down, right? And people could still do it. And so in the beginning, everybody really was hesitant on allowing open houses, letting people walk through their house. But from what we've gathered is people are still selling, people are still buying. We're just being much more cautious, the gloves and masks and sanitizing. I do think that some people that are not quite ahead on some of the technology maybe struggled a little bit more. Because there are agents that will maybe Zoom with their clients, and there are other agents that really want to meet in person. But as far as a struggle, probably just the atmosphere of our team as a whole. We all love to get together for those meetings and just spend time and feed off of each other and be in the office to hear ideas and people talking, giving hugs. That's probably the hardest struggle, is staying all connected together.
And technology-wise, has that changed dramatically at all with everything going on? I mean, besides Zoom, but in the real estate world, as far as things that you're doing differently?
The only, we've always been very, we've got the electronic signatures and things like that. People use DocuSign, so everybody's done that way. But as far as Keller Williams, we do have an app that is called Kelly, and she's an artificial intelligence for real estate agents. So that's been kind of neat to see her, what we call her growth, is when you say, Alexa, turn on countries, 90s countries, something like that. She can be more of a source that you can say, hey, Kelly, can you add Michelle Klein to my 2021 buyer list and remind me to call her Tuesday? So that has some of that technology that's grown. And if people engage in it, some people it's like, whoa, that's a bit much. But if you are engaging and you want to, it's there. Looks like Ned.
Yes. Have you used any technologies helping you presenting the properties itself?
So I don't sell myself, but as far as things that our agents are using, they all have their own website. And we also have a system where all of the marketing materials are in there. Let me take a look here. So if I try to think about us marketing their properties, we have our website, but yeah, it's mostly going to be through our marketing systems that we have.
Yes, I was asking about like 3D virtual tours of the properties itself. So the customers don't have to go to the actual property and it's more corona safe or something like that. Are you using this kind of technologies? Are you thinking about implementing them?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to talk more about that. Like I said, I don't list properties, but I know that our agents have used different resources, whether it's different virtual photographers that we have, drones, depends on the agent. But if you have insight on that, I'd love to hear about it.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Anybody else have any questions for Bridget?
Oh, I love all the chats. I'll make sure, and if you hopped on late or anything, but I'll make sure and mail out the book, The One Thing, and the KPA will just come to your email. I think it has like a 30-day window, and then it kind of resets, I think. But yeah, just if you take that, I'll get a response, and then I can reach out and send you that report. You can take a look at it.
I just have a quick question. Just, as we keep talking about technology and all that, realtors themselves are taking advantage of, but I just think about, myself and what I did this summer as far as using Facebook and using Zillow to sell my own house, right? So how are you guys combating, this notion that, we can kind of at a certain price level, right? It's gotten easier to sell by yourself. So I guess, how are you guys adding value beyond listings and all that? Just trying to think about, how you guys can continue to make sure that you're, kind of battling that sale by owner market versus what does a realtor bring to the table that, a Facebook or Zillow or whatever that I could do myself. I'm just curious as far as what your thoughts are there.
Sure. And I wish I had one of my top agents right next to me, because they'd have their elevator pitch ready to go. So for us, though, it's always going back to people and the conversations and the direct. Nobody's going to hire me because I'm at Keller Williams. Most likely, they may, because of the technology and the resources that we have, and all of the sites that they are marketed on. But it does go back to that individual person, and me, and I look at it as, I built my own deck. I didn't hire someone to do it because I can do that, but there's other things that I need a professional to do. And for me, I would hire a professional for certain services. And so, props to you doing that yourself. I mean, there's a lot of people that do, but there's some people that they don't want to deal with it. And they do want a professional and maybe a friend that can just handle the process for them, because they really are the ones that know what they're doing. Not that you don't, Brady, but they're the ones that are in it, and they have these conversations with agents in these companies that other people maybe not know, so they're going to have their ear to the ground a little bit quicker.
Gosh, Brady, those are like fighting words. I mean, that's an aggressive question.
I was like, oh, he's coming for me. Jeez.
It's a weird, I think we've seen it, right? I mean, technology continues to change and make it easier for everyone to do certain things. And I don't think it's just specific to the realtor market. I think it's a lot, but I was just curious and I know that was maybe a little bit of a pointed question, but I think sometimes it's like you said, you gotta be able to speak up and defend your value and continue to build those relationships. And I think that's truly what it's about too, is, having that trust in someone to come to bat for you and come through for you. So yeah, I was just curious and trying to, get an answer on that. I think it's been an interesting year in real estate. So
Well, it kind of goes back to that first one of those first slides that you shared, Bridget. Talking about Apple and Uber and Amazon, and I don't know. You could probably put a statement in there about the industry that you're in, or any of us are in, especially when we're in industries that are rapidly evolving in how we do our work. How often we need to challenge ourselves to look at those things through a different lens. Those lenses that were on those slides, those statements, those were all like, huh, I mean, when oftentimes we look at an Apple or we look at an Amazon as, bad monopoly driving, type of organizations, there's some really unique, profound statements in there that I think can be hints for how we all need to continue, excuse me, to innovate, whether if it's in our business, whether if it's in our personal lives. Like, staying stagnant and being the same is not really moving forward. Anyway, just interesting reflection.
I agree. And we were in the car, some colleagues of mine, and we were talking about, why don't you want to go to Walmart, or why don't you? And maybe it is because of that customer service. It's struggling in so many places, but we want to go where we're going to be treated well. So again, it's that personal experience.
So here's an example. No, I don't want to go to Walmart. Insert whatever company. I don't want to go to Walmart but they've innovated. So I do go to Walmart and I have been able to find a way to get a pleasant customer experience through the technology that they've leveraged for curbside grocery pickup. And
Yes.
in fact, my wife would say she's almost developed a personal relationship with the gal that seems to be always there, who walks through my order and talks through, well, we had to do this and this. And in a really weird way, my wife might not admit it to anybody else, but I think she enjoys Walmart now. But she also enjoys it because she doesn't have to step foot in the store. And they've figured out a way to overcome probably lots of us that feel the same way about an in-store experience, but have transformed that to still those same customers developing kind of a new allegiance towards just a different way of delivering a product. So that might be just one example. I think how just again going back to that initial slide.
Yeah, I love that.
I have a question, just in industry, in all industries. One thing, you know, everybody, of course, referral is the best way for any of us to get any business. Well, this year's been very challenging. You can't walk into someone's office, shake their hand, bring them a coffee cup full of candy, or, you know, whatever it is that you may do. How is everyone kind of offsetting that to get new referral bases and keeping that active and alive, you know, throughout this pandemic when we can't have face-to-face meetings? You know, it's hard to go to lunch with somebody and have those discussions. How are you offsetting that to still kind of keep that and, you know, as well as build new center of influences and referral, you know, partnerships?
I can try to answer that unless someone else had from their business perspective. Tara, I don't know, I guess the best way I would say would be we call our care calls. And that's just reaching out by phone. Otherwise, we have a lot of our agents that are opening up things like this that Medco is doing, holding these types of events and opportunities for people to get together. And a lot of it is still Zoom. But then, of course, you know, sending those cards. And Tara, I will tell you, we should talk about our preferred vendor program. We're working on some new virtual ways where we have our sales meetings. We're bringing in our vendors on different groups and events that we have. And I'd love for you to join us if you'd like sometime.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
Cool. Like I said, you've handled my insurance and all my stuff for a long time. Put up with some things.
It has been a long time.
Julie, not to put you on the spot, but I know you work with a lot of small businesses. I mean, can you add to that, like what they're doing and, you know, entrepreneurs that are trying to still build their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most, you know, the ones that are still staying open are those who are thinking about how they can serve their customer in the best manner. You know, just like that, even that quote that was shared earlier on Netflix, you know, it was because Blockbuster didn't serve their customer base very well, you know. So the businesses that are, you know, thriving now or pivoting are becoming more and more customer centric, and they're also trying to figure out how to leverage technology in order to keep their customer and serve them as well as possible. I was actually thinking a little bit when Nick was talking about Walmart. In one of my classes I teach, we were talking about customer service this last week, and you had to bring up a good example and a bad example. And there were multiple students in this class who brought up the Walmart app and pickup in today's world. And, you know, and about how that was an example. They had never expected it to work so well and the service to be so good. And that was, you know, that was really a great example. But again, it's just how they're, you know, leveraging technology and making it serve the consumer. I mean, that the consumer is at the heart of all of our services, and that those relationships be it virtual, be it on the phone. I love those ideas. Call, you have to really focus on that. So is that kind of it? Is that what you're kind of looking for, Michelle?
Need to unmute. Yeah, I just, that was a great question, and it is how you are changing. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's had to, right? I became a carryout service, so there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know. Mm.
Okay. Anybody else want to quiz Bridget before we let her go? Or not even Bridget, anybody just have any questions or thoughts that they want to share? Did no one have coffee this morning? Everybody's sleeping. All right. Bridget, thank you. Thank you for joining us all the way from California.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This was definitely something I wouldn't have done if I wouldn't, just jumped in all in. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again. And thank you to all the new faces. Once again, we do hold these meetups. They are the third Thursday of every month. They are at 8:30. You can find them on our meetup page where I think quite a few of you found us, but also we'll update on Facebook. So please do join us again. We will get the chat. Nick, can you grab chat? Or I don't know, maybe Bridget, did you grab what you needed out of there?
I got some of the direct messages and the KPAs, but if you do get a chat printout, would you shoot it to me if it automatically saves?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. We'll make sure that
Awesome.
their books and those of you that wanted the KPA, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
okay, well,
It's over.
stay warm, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning.